line tonight. Good evening, everyone. Welcome to Friday Night Football Fever. I'm Pete Byrne.
And I'm Bennett Wise. Sectional titles are up for grab in Indiana and district championships in Michigan.
And our show begins tonight with a grudge match. 2 years in a row, Penn has seen its season come to an end at the hands of Crown Point. Well, guess what? Tonight they meet again in the sectional final, with the Kingsmen hoping the third time's a charm.
The Kingsmen and Bulldogs are two of the last three undefeated teams in Class 6A, but one will go home. First play from scrimmage, Wildcat formation, advantage Crown Point. A.J. Summers setting the tone. 68 yards on the opening play, and the Dogs indeed. Penn fumbled on their first drive, their second. Colton Hernandez, track speed, untouched, played the fight song, 51 yards and a spark for the Kingsmen. We're in for a treat, tied at 7, entering the second. Landon Hall out to the flat. Buddy Hurley, get there, big fella. Feet inbounds. Ball on pylon. Touchdown Kingsmen, who take a 14-7 lead into halftime. Former head coach Corey Yeoman cheering on his guys, up 14-10 in the third. Penn, trouble with special teams all night. They still get the punt off with Crown Point with great field position. Then Indiana linebacker commit Trevor Gibbs, another Wildcat touchdown for the Bulldogs, who take the lead 17-14. You need a response if you're the Kingsmen. It's Hall looking downfield. Mason Bernacki, back shoulder greatness. Steps out at the 1. Dogs get 3 stops, so fourth down. Hall to the air. He's got Bernacki, and Penn takes the lead, and in a back and forth brawl, the Kingsmen enact their revenge over Crown Point. 28-24, advancing to the regional championship at Fort Wayne Carroll next week.
Wow, that is great stuff. And if you think it doesn't get any better than that,
oh, it sure does.
Just wait, because we're just getting started tonight. We move on to Class 5A, where Concord got some retribution last week against Warsaw last Friday. They get back to the sectional title game, where they have been 5 years in a row.
But they have not won a sectional crown since 2018. For that to change tonight, they'll have to do it on the road.
That's right. It has been a while. Concord visiting Fort Wayne North this evening. Not a lot of scoring early. In fact, scoreless after one quarter, and that's when the north side strikes first. They give it to Caleb Kingella, and he's going to go 44 yards to the house. Nice little move there at the 20 to get into the end zone, and it's the Legends with an early 7-0 lead. But the Minutemen would respond from there. Derek Gomez from the other side of the 50 breaks a tackle, and he's off to the races. They are going to catch him from behind. He is ruled down at the 1-yard line, but no worries. Reese Brevard is going to score on the next play to tie the game at 7, and Concord would slowly take over from there. Minutemen win it 34-29. They will play at Lafayette Jefferson next week in the regional.
LaPorte and Michigan City meet for the second time in 4 weeks at Kiwanis Field, this time for the 5A sectional, and it's on the line. Second quarter, Trin Hart connecting with Zaire McKinney, the NIU commit. 45-yard touchdown. City leads 14-0. Later in the frame, Hart going deep again. This time, Meek Laurent for a pickup of 35 yards. Then next drive, it's Hart keeping it himself and taking it in for the touchdown. Michigan City hanging on from a late charge from the Slicers, 28-21. The Wolves will host Merrillville in the regional.
All right, so that brings us now to Class 4A and a battle of ranked teams that we have had our eyes on ever since that sectional draw was announced weeks ago.
Mishawaka and St. Joe, identical 10-1 records. Both teams' only blemish. Now to the sectional champs from Penn.
Great resumes, and both teams ranked in the top 10 in the state. Mishawaka is second. St. Joe is 7th. Great matchup on paper. It was a great night for football, especially in early November, and a great environment tonight at Steele Stadium. Points at a premium in this one. First quarter, St. Joe on the march, but Camden Putz jars the football loose, and Landon Snyder recovers for the Cavemen. St. Joe's defense would get a stop, however, and St. Joe begins to march in the second quarter. But they're facing a long one here. 3rd and 19. Sam Chicatano drops a little screen pass to Austin Radigan, who's got blockers, and he's got just enough for a first down. That's going to lead to a 43-yard field goal try. Snap is good. Kick by Ryder Place. is good, and St. Joe takes a 3-0 lead into the locker room at halftime. So Keith Kinder's guys are going to need an answer coming out in the second half, and boy, do they get it. They put together a 7-minute drive to open the half. Caden O'Neill finishing it right here. 5 minutes left in the third quarter. Mishawaka has its first lead, 7-3. St. Joe looks like they steal the momentum back right here. The end around to Antoine Ross. He's got blockers. He's got the edge, and he's going 55 yards. Looks like St. Joe retakes the lead, but hang on. They are flagged for an illegal block. So Mishawaka is still in the lead, 7-3 as we head to the fourth quarter. 5 minutes to go. St. Joe on the march again. It's Dallas Downey. 22 yards into the end zone for the go-ahead score. St. Joe takes back the lead, 10-7. But now their defense needs to close it out. Mishawaka with one last chance, down by 4. Trouble on the exchange, and that football is on the ground. St. Joe has it. Kobe Addo coming out of the pile for St. Joe with the ball, and that is going to do it. St. Joe wins tonight 13-7. The Huskies win their first sectional title in a decade. So St. Joe stays alive. They will host Hobart in the regional round next Friday. And as we move to Class 3A, Bennett, it has been an exciting week at Knox with Miles McLaughlin becoming Indiana's all-time leading rusher.
And the state's career point getter, but that history has been written, as head coach Russ Radke told me this week. Records are great, but the team is most, and now the focus turns to trying to win a state championship.
Well, standing in their way tonight is a Marion team that is definitely peaking at the right time. The Knights lost 6 straight to close the regular season, but you got to remember, they're the smallest school in the NIC. It's been different in the playoffs.
Yes, it has. They've won 2 in a row by an average of 38 points. It's a rematch of the title game a year ago. Knox shut out Marion 12-0. Skins up 8 in the first. Who else but Miles McLaughlin bullying across the line. They're up 16-0 after the first. Marion back with the ball in the second. Sweep. Terrence Lane skips across for the score, and the Knights back within 10 at 16-6. Then just before the half, McLaughlin on the doorstep. Great blocking, patient running.
You know it's coming, but it's hard to stop.
Knox wins their 4th straight sectional, 48-18, and will travel to Angola.
Boy, he's coming for Derrick Henry, isn't he? Finally, we're going to close out in Class 1A. LaVille knocked off number 5 North Judson last week, so tonight they get a home game against 10-1 West Central. Second quarter, they're up 14. When they get the touchdown from Stafford, Lancers on a roll. They led 28-0 at the half. As we move to the third quarter, Braden Switch again breaking tackles, and this time he's going to rip off a 59-yard touchdown run. They're celebrating in Lakeville tonight. Lancers win it in dominating fashion, 49-6. LaVille is the sectional champs, and for their effort, they get a trophy, and now they get a date with Pioneer in the regional next Friday. We need to take our first time out here on Friday Night Football Fever, but when we come back, 3 area teams in the state of Michigan hit the fields tonight in search of district titles. We're going to head north for more highlights when Friday Night Football Fever returns.
Football Fever on WSBT 22, sponsored by Zolman's Tire and Auto Care.
Welcome back to Friday Night Football Fever. The playoffs started last week in Michigan and Bennett. Week 1 was not kind to our area schools.
It was not. All but 3 teams were knocked out on opening night. St. Joseph, Berrien Springs, and White Pigeon are the lone local teams remaining.
And for St. Joe, the challenge tonight is a daunting one. They welcome the defending state champions to Dickinson Stadium. That would be Zeeland West, who upset Niles last Friday. So St. Joe is going to try and knock them off at home tonight, but in the first quarter, things go awry. They go a little trickery. They go at the halfback option pass, but sometimes it's best to just let the running backs run because that ball is going to be picked off by the Ducks, and they would turn that into points. Brandon Holman taking it straight ahead, going to catch the pass from Drew Albrecht for the touchdown. That makes it 6-0 Ducks. So they're going to decide to go for 2, and on the sweep, it is Kenny Howe III getting into the end zone to make it 8-0, and Zeeland would pull away from there. West eliminates St. Joseph tonight, 48-28.
In Division 5, Berrien Springs on the road facing Kalamazoo Hackett for the 2nd straight year in the district final. First quarter, Titans with the ball. Jackson Herder over the middle to Ezra Rokamp, hitting the afterburners. He's got daylight ahead, but look at Braylon Hurst the wheels, stops them down at the 1. The Shamrocks defense come up with 4 straight stops. Lewis Roman covers on 4th down, and we're still scoreless entering the second quarter. Keegan McHugh fires, and he's got Rocamp wide open for the touchdown. Berrien Springs would later fall to Hackett 21-6.
And in Division 8 tonight, White Pigeon sees its season come to an end. They fall on the road at Hudson 50-20.